a moment. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another
Whoa.
Numbers Report 1111 podcast. We're here, your host, Nico Zaneko, with Dos Lopez, Panda,
Hello.
and Natasha Nanda from
Hi.
the UK, London. And we're going to get around to talking about a lot of cool stuff today. We're going to talk about our numbers reports that we've seen over the past week. We're going to talk about Natasha is actually an author of a really awesome sounding book. Are you seeing the 1111? Sorry. Why don't you tell them what it is? Because I feel myself flarping it up.
Yeah. I'm the author of the book. I've got a copy here actually. It's called I Keep Seeing 1111 Do You? And it's an exploration and guide for what to do next. So that's me.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Definitely,
amazing.
definitely would love to hear more about that. I guess if you want, you could open it up just talking about your book a little bit and what about to do next, whatever you mean with that, because
Yeah, tell us.
it's
Okay,
interesting to hear people have their take on it. So go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. So, my first 1111 experience kind of began in 2011. I actually started to see other number synchronicities first, which was 333 predominantly. So I was going through quite.
Oh no, I was like, yeah, that was one of my first ones too. So I was like,
So I was going through quite a hard part in my life, and these numbers were just popping out everywhere. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't really understand it, and it was a bit annoying, a bit irritating. It kind of freaked me out a little. But over the years, I've begun to find out reasons why this was happening. It took me a couple of years, hence why I wrote the book. So 1111, it's basically an exploration about what 1111 is. So that it's a global phenomenon that's literally sweeping the world. Millions and millions of people around the world are seeing it. We see it on your pages,
oh
and
yeah,
people sharing screenshots, amazing, and pictures and posts, and these numbers synchronicities, they just pop up in the most unusual places at times when we're not even expecting it. And that's the beauty about it. A lot of people say that it's coincidence. I don't believe that it's coincidence, it's synchronicity. Carl Jung, he was a big believer in synchronicity, and I think chrono in synchronicity in Greek actually means time. So everything's set for a time, divine reason. Um, so I touch upon about that and a little bit about what it could mean to people. And the
Hmm.
second part of the book is about what to do next. So we all take screenshots. We have our phone, we take screenshots, we take pictures. And if you're anything like me, you will have thousands of pictures in your phone. And I was like, what am I
oh
doing
yeah.
with this? So for me, I believe in a higher power. So one day I was like, okay, let
Hmm.
me tap into this. Let me try this out. If you ask, you receive. And
Yes.
that's the philosophy in so many texts and in spirituality, religion, whatever it is that people believe in. So I called upon my 1111 guides, that's what I call them. And I said, okay, I need some signs that, there's something higher than myself. There must be so much more than we can actually see. So I called upon the numbers and I was guided. I used something called the star method, which is touched upon in my book. So when I see 1111 or any other number, I stop for a moment. So that's the S, the star. And I think about what I was doing at the time that I saw it. So I would think, okay, what was I doing? What was I thinking? How was I feeling? Is there anything around me? So, for example, I might have been thinking about something that I needed to do, and there's a song on in the background, and the music resonates. It's almost giving me a sign or a message. Or I'll look up at an advert, and on that advert, it's speaking out to me. And sometimes it's just feelings, trusting your intuition, what you were thinking or feeling. And then A is ask. So you would ask your guides for guidance. And R is receive. So whatever we ask, we receive back. So that's the STAR method. So it goes, there's other things as well, like the gateway method and almost testing out our guides. It sounds really crazy, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a believer in things, or you are, and you want to test the waters, everyone's got a sense of humor. So I could say to my guides, okay, when I see numbers, I know there's a higher power around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask for an item. So, for example, I'll say, okay, if you're around me, I want to see a phoenix. Couple of minutes, couple of hours, a couple of maybe not even days later, I will start seeing phoenixes pop up in the most bizarre ways possible.
Oh
So then
God.
what I would do from that, I would then derive. I've tested it out. I've tested the waters. Okay, there's something up there that's listening to me. It's got my attention. It's giving me signs. It's communicating with me. We're on a different level here. So then what I start to do is I start to build up a vocabulary. So it's almost like I'm starting my own personal dictionary, and I will assign meanings to each item or symbol. So, for example, one of mine is when I'm on the right track, I have feathers. So, whenever I see a lot of feathers, I know I'm on the right track. If I'm going off track, it might be eggs. It sounds really bizarre, but that's what I
Mm-hmm.
assign to each thing. So, I always say to people, I receive emails all the time of people, and I try and get a lot of people to try and test this out for themselves. And it's amazing the response that I get from it. And some of these people don't even believe in angels or the universe. They're just
Mm-hmm.
everyday people who sometimes don't even have any beliefs sometimes. So when they come back to me and go, "Oh my God, it worked," then okay, there we go. It's working for the people. But I definitely recommend people, you don't, read the book or just try the STAR method. It's amazing. It works really well. I'd love to hear back from people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the second part of the book of what to do next. Obviously, it delves deep. I'll be here all day, and I don't want to take over your show, Nika, and
Oh,
Lopez
it,
as well.
no, thank you. I mean, it's incredible you took the time to write it all down,
Yeah.
even.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing. So,
I
we're
know,
gonna.
but
Oh, go ahead, Dos Lopez.
sorry. I think that your everything that you just said is very true because there has been many instances of like I know there's something up there and like on Friday, this past Friday, I actually did this like spirit guide meditation, but I couldn't like ascend above, because I was just, I don't know, maybe distracted or something. But like seriously, that night, I actually like a few days ago. Actually, no, I like in December of last year, I lost this banner that I have because I DJ and I have a show. So I put this banner in front of the table. So I lost it, and I was like, please help me find it somehow. I know it's got to be somewhere, like, because even though I looked everywhere, like, I couldn't find it. And then after I went to that guided meditation class, that night I went to an event, and I found the banner that has been lost for like 3 months, and I thought that it was like completely lost, and then I was like, oh hey, this is insane, and actually 2 days ago I was wearing a blue and like red sock, just like randomly and stuff. And then I went to the bathroom, and as I was sitting down, I looked down, and like the the rug that was on the floor, it was the colors of my socks, and it was like an X because it was a Star Wars mat. It was like the Darth Vader and I think one of the Jedi's, and it was like the colors of the sabers of the same of my socks. Like they were in the same spot, and it was an X, and I was like, "Oh, okay, universe, thanks."
Right.
true though. Like it seriously does talk to you in different ways, and it's like amazing. It's so amazing. I don't know. When that happens, I just feel this like joy and happiness inside me, and then it just makes me feel like super. I don't know, like just be like if they.
Right.
I don't. I feel the energy inside of me, the warmth. I don't know. It's hard
Yeah.
to describe.
Yeah, it's really incredible because what we're talking about, the numbers that we're seeing, it's really in the scope of it all. I feel like, it's just a small portion of what's really going on in the greater sense, like what Natasha was talking about, seeing feathers and the other signs that would be embedded into a reality, and what you're saying, and it's really incredible. It's really difficult to, or I don't know, like the reason why we decided to go with the numbers and trying to bring tangibility and proof that it's happening. I feel like it's easier, maybe because they are numbers, to like use math and science to actually reflect that there's something occurring, as opposed to trying to figure out the likelihood it was for your socks to be the same as like the math.
I know.
So, any number of like instances that you just know are just like incredibly unlikely, just in general. But yeah, it's awesome. I love that. This topic just brings all of that up, and hopefully, it can be the catalyst to really bring that conversation much further into the future. Wow. Well, that's amazing. So, Natasha, we're going to put the link to your book in the YouTube description so people can find you, of course. And yeah, just, so honored that, you're able to make the time to meet with us at 1:00 a.m. your time.
I know.
Yeah. That's really incredible.
Yeah, how did you how did you come upon us?
It was on Facebook. I saw the post randomly. It was so long ago, and I remember getting in touch, and you were just like getting your podcast up and running, and then I got back in touch again, and yeah, it was a while. I think you're just going through that phase of just setting it up. So yeah, it's just synchronicity, isn't it? It's how we are all meant to meet at a set time for reasons and different purposes. Just find it. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in going down the path with the numbers, I feel like they want us to go somewhere with these, and I feel like they want us to really bring tangible evidence that it's actually happening as well. So I guess with saying that, would you guys want to, touch on a couple number reports that we gathered over the past month, just to kind of kick off some more conversation? Because I got a couple that I think are definitely worthwhile, and I guess I'll start by doing a screen share thing here, you guys.
Okay.
So look out. Boom. Whoa. into the matrix you go. So
Matrix.
So we're going to talk about one that Natasha actually found, but before that, I want to talk about this one that was really, I thought, kind of cosmically hilarious. So if you guys can see this, hopefully you can.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. So this is a post that was made. See, there was 227 photos collected, numbers reported and documented from last month, which is like so many and wonderful because we have a lot to go off of. And it's funny because I was thinking about, okay, so which ones are we going to talk about this week on the podcast? And then check it out. So I made this post, and then after the fact, I noticed that I had posted it at 1:11 a.m. It was totally by chance, and I was like, of course, I post like all the numbers that we found from the month, like at 1:11, like, and I was like,
that's awesome. That's
yeah. So I was like, here, I'll bring it back to my screen now. So I was like, well, shoot, what are the odds of that happening? So I wrote up, the math behind it to figure out like what the heck the odds were that actually were to happen, and it really is quite fascinating, actually. I don't know if you can really see it, and I might as well not even bother to hold this up to the screen because you're going to see it backwards and upside down, maybe. So I'm just going to read it to you instead. So what I did is I measured the number of minutes in a day, which, if you didn't know, is 14,040 minutes in a single day. And I was curious to know how many times in a day repeating, or not a repeating number sequence, but just a pattern of numbers that occur that have three of the same numbers in it, such as 111, 222, 333. Numbers like that. Like, what are the odds of even seeing something sort of peculiar like 111? Because that's one of the numbers that very commonly is seen between people having this phenomenon. A lot of three numbers repeating. So I checked it out. It turns out it happens 10 times a day. So 10 times a day. And I did the math. I divided, that the 10 minutes that it would happen a day to the 1,440 minutes. And it came out to, so the odds that we would see, or that we would land on by chance, numbers that had three of the same number repeating in it, was 0.7%, which is less than 1%.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I did the math on just, the odds it would have been to land on 111, which is even less. So I won't even it was like 0.013, but just the fact that we would land on a sequence of three of the same number in general, common numbers of this like phenomenon. It's like it's so unlikely. It's less than 1 in 1,440. That I would have done that by chance, I guess. So
that's insane. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's a little math for you guys to wrap your head around. It's not that we just think these numbers are significant, and we might be crazy, but like this math also shows that it's kind of wild that it even happened to begin with. So yeah, so take that in, and I didn't look at a bunch of the. I looked at all of the numbers reported, and I didn't do the math for all of them, obviously, or even too many because of just the length we're trying to hold this podcast at. But we will pull up Natasha's numbers here next, because I thought this one was really interesting. Here we go. Gonna send you guys down the matrix again. There you go. Cool. So, yeah, Natasha, why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, because you reported it.
Yeah, you know what? Even though I reported it, it did freak me out. I still get freaked out by it sometimes, even though I love my 11s and I understand most of it. So my husband was in the shop. We own a shop and it sells literally everything. And it was Christmas, and we had a big family come round to our house. They were all coming to our house, and I just called him and I said, look, I'm going to send you a list of things. It was a pretty big list. I didn't realise it was this big though. And I said, can you pick them all up for me? So he said, yeah. So he's got to scan all of the items through. And then he took a picture of this and sent it me. He said, you never guess what your orders come to. And it came to exactly £111.11. And my husband, sometimes I think he thinks I'm a little bit kooky because he's not into the numbers. He doesn't get it. He supports me, but he just doesn't get it. He's not there with it, which is fine. So for him to message me that and go, oh my God, look at this, you know, you have to kind of say, okay, something's going on now. Something's nudging him now to get his attention. But yeah, it's crazy. Just what are the chances of that?
Yeah. Sorry, I just took you guys down like a crazy flipping through pages. I totally blanked on me that I had you guys on a screen share, and I was like commenting to this guy in our chat, and I was like do, and then I was like, oh wait, something's not right here. So multitasking can be a little weird sometimes for a cat like me. So, but anyways, holy Schmidt, you know, holy crap. Natasha, that, I mean, I was looking at some of these that you rung up, and some of them, like, you rang up 2 of things, and altogether you might have bought 15 things or so, because I see it cuts off maybe at the top.
So I think it's a list, so you can only see so much. So it's like a till roll, if that makes sense. So he's just sent me a picture of what he can see on his screen. But if you were stood there and you scroll down, you'd probably see more, because there's no way all that comes to exactly £111.11. So it was a big list though. It was Christmas. We've got a big family as well, a huge family.
Wow. Yeah, so I looked at this, and some you got numbers crossed out and everything, so it equaled £111.11, not like 11 or £111.09. You know, you got all ones there. So, so I was trying to like think about breaking this one down, but there's instances like this that it's almost like inconceivable to be able to do it. I think it could be done, but so many factors would go into it to figure out what the odds were for you to get that I feel like in this case it might not even be. I think we can just look at this one and just sort of appreciate it for what it is and be like wow, that's really crazy that you ended up with that.
Yeah.
Especially for you know, the writer of the book, you know, are you seeing the 1111? And though it's not the 1111, you know, it's still right up that alley. So
and you know what? It always makes me smile. You know, after so many years, even after writing a book, every time I see it, it still amazes me. I still smile and I still get shocked and sometimes even get freaked out a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. But in a good kind of way, freaked out, not a like scared freaked out. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I think it's important for us to express to our audience this, that or at least I don't believe the numbers are there for us to have a negative reaction to.
No.
You know, I had an experience for about a few years where I associated numbers, actually 16 and 116, 1116. I would just see these for years it felt like a daily basis, and it would freak me out because I associated them with something negative. Like I was making a bad choice every time I saw them. So I would immediately do something different every time I saw them for years. And it was just making my life hell, to be honest. And I eventually ended up coming around, and it took me years of trying to like work on just accepting the numbers, but finally coming around to accepting that, or the idea that it was just trying to tell me something. It wasn't a negative thing, and just to like honor it as that. And as soon as I did, and it was really weird because I wouldn't see other numbers other than that. And about a year before I started to see 16, I was seeing all kinds of crazy numbers like 333, 222, a lot of double-digit repeating numbers. And then I hit this wall and just started to see 16 for years. And as soon as I like released that, like negative association with it, I stopped seeing 16 the way I was, and I started to see the other numbers again. It was like, whoa, I was just like stuck on this number. So
Yeah. I know
yeah.
it's pretty crazy. Like whenever I have a negative thought, because I caught it like many times now, and then every time I have a negative thought, I see 1111 or 111 or some kind of one, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, yes, I'm not supposed to be having these thoughts, you know. But every time it like catches me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You know, and then I try thinking about other better things, and then it does work, and it's insane. But
You know
Okay.
what's really good? You're saying that actually. So a lot of people, I get a lot of emails where people say that, you know, I think of a number, and it generally numbers like 666, and they associate
Oh
it
yeah.
with something bad, or just like you were saying, you have negative thoughts. So I've used this on a few people. I use it with my little boy. He's 4 years old. You can use it with kids. Negative thoughts, literally every day in your life. So whenever you have a negative thought, you imagine a candle on a cake. And what we say is put a candle and blow it out, and then you go and you blow that negative thought out. And then I do it with my little boy. And then once we've blown the candle out, we both say, "What are you talking about?" Like we thought something, but it's gone. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
next
cool.
time you have a negative thought, try putting a candle on it and blowing it out, and then automatically you'll just forget.
All right, yes, I'll try that then. That'd be good. Sorry, my dog is like crazy.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful method to do. And I only bring it up too because recently I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday who has an association with the numbers 144 and thought it was
Yeah.
a negative thing. And she had, just this like bad reaction to it. So I was trying to kind of come from my experience because literally, like, my life was it was becoming a living hell because of this, and I can't believe I actually did it for years and wasn't able to shake it. Like, it's pretty traumatic. So just trying to save people a couple years possibly of struggling with negative associations with reacting to these numbers. But any kind of way that we can release that negativity, I think, is worth investigating for sure. Well, cool. I want to make a shout out to the people on the live chat, CeeLo and Yin Yang, for participating. And I'm watching the chat, so hearing your thoughts. Boy. Yeah, so I think, just this whole phenomenon in general, and I think it's really interesting, the the 3 6s repeating, kind of being wrapped up in this. It does feel quite, paranormal. There's really no, like, I can't scientifically or matter of fact tell anybody what is causing them, like what is the reason. But I'd say subjectively, because it is pretty powerful to see these numbers literally every day, sometimes or very often multiple times a day, and then sometimes right, and then sometimes accompanied with that you'd see numbers like 666, and you can't help but question, if you read the Bible, or if you have read and it talks about the book of or the Revelations chapter where it's talking about the end times, whatever the end times may be, that number is definitely referenced in there to be, to keep an eye out for. So it's kind of thought provoking, to say the very least, right? Like something very big is kind of wrapped up in these numbers, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely does. I think so too.
Yeah, like also real. I mean, it could be God, it could be Great Spirit, it could be aliens, it could be the government. I've heard so many things like what the numbers could be, but
I think with the numbers, it's like I always say that the number journey that we're on is like fingerprints. So if you have a look at your fingerprints, or everybody's fingerprints are different. Mine's different to yours. No one's got the same fingerprints as me or you, and that's what our journey's like with the numbers. So what 1111 or 666 or 444 means to me may be different to what it means to somebody else, because we're all on different journeys. So for you, Nico, when you used to see these 16s and numbers, you put quite a negative, it kind of freaked you out a little bit. It's quite a negative thing. When you look at the Bible and the book of Revelations, it gets really deep. But sometimes,
oh boy,
it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's curiosity. Albert Einstein said it. You know what? Curiosity takes you everywhere. And sometimes you have to go down them roads to understand the other side of the road, that is love and is light. And that's what 6 represents to me. I used to think 666 was, Satan and dark forces and negativity, but that's because of whether it's social media or conspiracy theories, people impinge their fear on us. And that fear stays inside us, and we attach that meaning to it. But the more people that promote 666 or 1616 as a light message, so for me, 6 represents love, not fear, not evil. It represents love. If I promote to people, this is what it means. You look at Doreen Virtue and Joanne Scribes, and they're quite positive numbers. Then your journey starts to change in a different direction, and it'll take you in a different direction. And and you meet people like we've met, and I meet loads of people through my 1111 journey and book, and just not even the book, just through social media. It's amazing.
I know, right? Social media has taken us a long way.
Yeah, big time. If you use it wisely, and just it helps raise the global consciousness, which is what we're doing.
Absolutely. So we have some requests on the chat from one of our viewers, Steelamon, for Natasha to sort of talk a bit more about her book. So if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you got anything special that you feel people should absolutely know about, maybe more about yourself in the book, or just the book in general.
Yeah, so the book in general, I'll hold it up, and maybe it'll be easier to go through. So the book in general, it works in 3 parts. So the first part, I'll just flip it open, is what is an exploration into 1111. So what 1111 is all about, who sees 1111, is it a coincidence, why me? It touches upon theory. So it's very much the foundation of 1111. And it's literally, it's not too intense. So if you've just started to see 1111 or number sequences like 111, 111, 1111, any of the ones, then it's a good foundation to start. It's not intense. It's really simple and easy. it doesn't tell you what it means, because if someone said to me, what does 1111 mean? I would say there is no set definition. No one's been able to do it, and that's because it takes us on a journey. So for some people, it's an awakening, and it wakes you up to something. It's like an alarm clock going off, isn't it? So you wake up, it's there, and it keeps going off. You keep seeing it on the microwave and the oven, and you're like, what's going on? Now you can either hit that snooze button and ignore it, or you can go, okay, it's trying to get my attention. It wants me to do something. That's the purpose of an alarm clock, isn't it? We set an alarm. So what I propose in it is you've got two choices. It's a bit like the Matrix, I suppose. You get to choose either the blue pill or the red pill. And the blue pill, you can just go back to sleep, ignore the numbers, not really delve deep into it. Or you can take that red pill, and you can see how far and how deep that rabbit hole goes. And when you do, you step into a whole different world. Like, obviously this book is
Oh,
right.
yeah.
It doesn't go into that, because I'd probably scare the bejesus out of people if I started talking about 1111 and the Matrix and tapping into a much higher purpose through meditation. It goes a lot deeper, and that's why I love that the book opened up doors where people would email. Obviously, I've got two children, very young children, so time isn't always on my side to reply to them. So if you have any questions, anybody, please feel free to email. It does take me up to 2 weeks to reply sometimes, but I do have a lot of one-to-one time with people and can get to know their stories. So yeah, it's the book's basically tapping into a different realm of angels and the universe, whatever it is you believe in, and how to work with the numbers from the next level after just seeing them. It's what to do next. So it's not that deep. It's a nice easy read. If
Nice.
you want a little bit deeper, hook me up, it's fine.
Well, yeah, be sure to shoot me your email on Messenger, and I can add that to the YouTube description. Yeah, I think it's really interesting, like the snooze button thing, like what you said. I know some people that begin to experience the 1111 or other numbers, and they get overwhelmed, and they do tune it out, and they actually stop seeing it. So it is something that people can control. From what I gather, I've seen it happen to a few people now. So if you really don't want it in your reality, you still have apparently control to pull back, if it's too much.
No.
Oh, Dos Lopez is getting attacked.
Tiny doggy.
Let me help you. Oh man. Yeah, so I think this is just so good. The numbers are, I think, at least an excellent jump off point to getting into the bigger topics, like you were saying, Natasha, really the whole nature of existence as a whole, and other phenomenons. And it's really quite an adventure, and feel super blessed, to be on it with you two cool cats, and all you viewers out there, everybody who's experiencing this. I think, it's a very obvious sign that humanity's consciousness is shifting into another, we'll say, dimension, for lack of a better word, or maybe that's a good enough word. I don't know, but more people than I've seen in years have began to have this number phenomenon experienced, and it's just really inspiring to see. And it's only been a few years for me, and it's picked up a lot. So perhaps one day everybody will be able to tune in and see the numbers with us.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Man, yeah, what kind of world would it be? Maybe it would force us to sort of stop destroying the planet and each other, and question, why are we here to begin with? What is the true nature of reality? If we actually don't understand, we thought we knew it, apparently we don't. And it's so clear to see we don't because these numbers are happening and such. So, well, we've only got a few minutes left here until sign off. So I just want to shout out there for anybody who's watching. If you're experiencing the numbers or if you're interested, in the description of this video, check out the Third Eye Horizon Mystery School. It's called. It's a Facebook group. You can share your number experiences that we will collect each month and put towards further research in what our ultimate goal and hypothesis is to prove that there is a number phenomenon occurring, just period. So hopefully you guys check it out, talk with other people seeing the numbers, and I think together as a community, we'll have a better chance of making something happen. That's just me. So any final words for you two ladies though with us?
I believe that there's definitely something happening, and that our higher guidance or guides out there, whatever's there wants to help us. And I think eventually, hopefully, other people wake up as well.
Totally.
And very nice to meet you, Natasha. It was really nice to meet
You too. Yeah, I think I just like to say, there is something much higher out there. I know from my personal experience, the rule of thumb is you have to ask. If you want guidance, if you want support, if you want some signs or different numbers, test the waters out. If you want to kind of test out, is this really real? Choose a different number and ask your guides if they're around and there is something bigger to give us a sign. And it can be numbers, it can be objects, it can be anything. So try that. I just say try it out. Let curiosity lead you somewhere else.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to share with everybody, get everybody sending pictures. Hopefully we can build a bigger profile next month, each month, get more sightings and see where it takes.
Yeah.
It'll be so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, together, I like to look at it as a collective research experiment that we're all participating in, and together we can really help lift to a higher platform. And I think it's definitely got the potential, with, if we can keep coming up with, statistics, findings like what we did today, just on that one case, and I know there's so many that happen, that we can actually make some kind of impact. And I think it's definitely like top headline newsworthy. If you consider what is newsworthy today, I think this just puts it all to the side and is like, look, guys, there's like some like real shit going on. And I think we should like look at this and kind of maybe go from there. Wake up. Look at the writing on the wall, or the time, basically, or whatever, wherever you're seeing it, on the license plates, on the microwaves. Okay, well, man. So, yeah, could just keep going. I love podcasts and talking about this. I guess before we sign, is there anything else anything like real important that you didn't say that you want to say? I'm going to look at our live stream comments real quick just to see.
Yeah, I'd probably say, for people who have just started to see the numbers, it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes. It's a lot to take on, especially when your gallery is filling up with all these numbers and you don't have a clue what it all means. Don't fear these numbers, embrace it. And when you embrace it, that's when magical things start to happen. It'll take you on a nice journey in the right direction.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, well, with that being said, stay fabulous, beautiful people, and, check out Third Eye Horizon on Facebook. See more content, more posts, more updates with the numbers report. We're going to try and get on with 313 TV. Shout out to you guys if you're watching this podcast. We'd love to be on your platform and broadcasted further on the internets out to the world to discuss the 1111 and just repeating numbers, synchronistic numbers phenomenon. And yeah, until next time. Meow. All right. Ciao.
See you later.